Today is the 10th of September and this is my next update in terms of tutorial for the Fly By Wire mod a320neo sim for Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. So for those that have seen my previous tutorials, this is going to be very similar. I'm going to go through a full cold and dark setup, but based on today's release, so you will see some subtle differences. We're going to cold and dark setup and then taxi, and that will be the end of the tutorial today. So perhaps 12 minutes maximum, I would have thought. So I'm just going to quickly jump through the normal features. I'll call out things new as we go through, and that's it. So first things first, just let my frame settle. Why are we only holding it? Oh, there we go, better, 46. So batteries on, external power on, so no difference there. It is on, extinguish white lights on, check. Different this time, crew supply on. We're sorting out the temperature of the cabin. We're setting our emergency lights, smoking lights, seatbelt lights, and nav and logo lights on. We're coming down to here and we're going to turn on our screens. Now I'm using the FPS fix. Now that causes problems with this mod and the screens. It's not a problem with the actual mod, it's the FPS that causes the problem. So if you notice when I touch this, it jumps back to waiting for progress. It will come back alive in just a minute. We'll extinguish our master caution light. We're now going to turn up our lighting across our panel. We're now looking on here, so we've got our parking brake set and nav and TCAS fault. That's because our gears haven't aligned. We're now going to align in 7 minutes, not 10, so there's a new change. Quickly coming down to here, we've got our engine page, which we had before, our bleed page, pressure page is yet to be modelled, same as electrics and hydraulics, our fuel page, which did work before, APU, which we know works, display information on ECAM hasn't been modelled yet. Door page we know works. We've now got our control page working as well, where we can test our rudder, ailerons, pitch trim. So there we go. All of that is now done and working, which is good. Our takeoff configuration is now working as well, and I'll talk through that shortly. Very quickly into our MCD, not too much to do in here yet. This is next to get an overhaul. We're going to pop in our cost for this particular flight. Our block fuel of 10.6, zero fuel weight 50.2. This doesn't do anything. If you're doing this at the minute, it's for the sake of it. But it will be doing something once the MCD has been overhauled. 21.78, we'll pop that in. The next key part, you may have seen in the last video, is you must put a slash and then your noise abatement altitude. So on here will be for Bristol 1000. Failure to set that and you will stay at takeoff speed for your whole flight on managed speed. So that is a key part of doing this. Our transition altitude is 6,000 for takeoff. We're going to be, again, this has no, the flap setting has no impact at the moment on this mod. However, the flex temp, if you're doing a flex temp instead of full power takeoff, does have impact. Flight plan, we're out of 27. I'm not going to do a full flight anyway for now. So our initialization page is set, flight plan page, and our program page is now set. 6 minutes to alignment on there. That seems to be going slow. Now, advice for takeoff. I still don't believe the managed speed is working effectively, and that's not the developer's fault, that's just the way that Asobo programmed this. So when this spools up to 250 knots, it will shoot to 270 knots and then come back down. Now, if you're using any sort of VA or ACAR system, you'll get penalties for that. What I do is I set my speed for initial climb at 180. Pop the arrow down into unmanaged speed. I set my initial altitude and I pop that down, so I'm pulling the knob, not pushing it, taking it out of managed climb, and I set my vertical speed at 2000. Now that will ensure a safe climb without overspeeding. We're going to set our hectopascals, and we're going to set that correctly for Bristol, which is 1013, sorry. We'll pop our flight directors on and our constraints. We've got 5 minutes left until we align. I'm going to pop our auto throttle on. I'm going to pop so first things first, so our before start checklist to the line. Cockpit prep has been completed, gears and pins have been removed, our signs are on, our gears are set to nav, our fuel has been loaded, our takeoff data has been set, and our barrel reference has been set, which is cool. Our takeoff checklist below the line. Windows and doors have been closed. Our beacon needs to be turned on along with the APU. We'll wait for that to start. Our thrust levers, can't talk, need to be idle, and a parking brake needs to be set. And we'll look at our APU page and we see that that's just about to spool up. So apart from that, nothing else to do for the next few minutes, so join me back in just a few minutes once we're aligned, and we'll go to the next stage of the tutorial. So our ideas have just aligned, our APU has started, so we're ready to push back. So we'll call for our pushback, we'll take our starting brake off. Now on this particular aircraft, I'm going to do a dual engine start for the sake of time. We don't seem to be being pushed back with a tug. Welcome to Bristol. Lovely bit of scenery from UK 2000. Okay, so back to our cockpit. Parking brake back on for a minute because this isn't very even here on the grounding. So we will click down to our flight controls. So full left, full right, center, full up, full down, center, and rudder, full left, full right, center. So that's all working lovely now. We click on our takeoff config button. It's going to tell me off because I haven't set my flaps. Cancel the master warning. So there you go, that's another new addition. Let's try again. So Auto brake needs to be set to max. Check. Spoilers armed. Check. Now, cabin check. This is the bit that you need to do. We scroll up to the top and we click all. There we go. And then we now have our takeoff check. Now, when you come to landing, you'll have the landing checklist on the eCam as well. And same again, click the forward button. It will advise our cabin crew seats for landing. Super. So before takeoff check, flight controls check, flight instruments checked, briefings confirmed, the flaps are config 2, VR is 100, V1 is 120, so rotate, ATC is set, and ACOM memo is takeoff no blue. There we go. So that concludes the cold and dark setup. Hopefully you found that useful. The fly-by-wire mod is being adapted daily, so I will be updating this tutorial to show the new features once to twice a week. So please subscribe and click notify, and you'll get notified when when I'm uploading the latest tutorials. But apart from that, thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.